To escape from a heavily guarded prison, how many steps are needed? Today, I'm Harry, who has watched countless movies, will tell you that you only need 3 steps. Open the cell door, go out and lock the door again. This is a good jailbreak movie recommended by Uncle Chia. Escape from Pretoria. The protagonist relied on these 3 steps. He completed the Shawshank Redemption. The story took place in South Africa in 1973. The government at that time used to maintain social stability as an excuse, and officially launched a racial policy. The living area was divided by race. Political rights were also extremely unequal, but wherever had oppression, there existed resistance because the constitution joined racial discrimination. The anti-racism movement was also emerging in South Africa. Tim Jenkin was one of them. As being one of the few white people in the ANC, he gave up the generous living environment and favorable conditions for white people. He was dedicated to this activity without hesitation. He teamed up with another white friend, Stephen Lee. He put a time bomb on the street, distributed flyers, and took the opportunity to promote himself with thousands of anti-apartheid ideas. Because of this, he became a famous man who everyone knew about in the street. But when he walked in the street, Tim was finally caught by the government. Tim was sent to jail for 12 years. Stephen was sentenced to 8 years. They were immediately sent to the local prison in Pretoria. But as a promising young man with the world in mind, how could Tim stay on his own and wait for death? The money he secretly sent to his girlfriend was hidden in his butt. He wanted to take the opportunity to implement a jailbreak plan. However, reality soon gave the man a head-on blow. Because this prison was full of important prisoners, the regulations were quite strict. No pens, radios, and newspapers. They were not allowed to discuss with each other. Dennis, a senior who had served more than 20 years in prison, persuaded in the voice of someone who had experienced. The 6-meter-high wall was barbed wire. Guards and searchlights were online 24 hours. The rock under the prison was so hard, so jumping over the wall and digging tunnels was simply impossible. Honestly, I think you should stay here. Behaved better, fought for commutation. But Tim still didn't give up. The Frenchman Leonard joined the chat enthusiastically. Hey, do you want to escape from prison? I'm in. I'm fed up with this concrete grave. The only way out to go is through the fence gate. Wait, fence gate? Tim suddenly came to light. At the end of his rope, let go to the front door. But from the cell door to the prison door, there were 10 iron gates in the middle. The keys were in the hands of the jailer. It was not easy to pass through these doors silently. After thinking hard for more than half a month, Tim finally came up with a brilliant plan. Instead of stealing someone's keys, you had better do it on your own. This idea sounded time-consuming and laborious. But in prison, the most important thing was the time. Tim measured the approximate size of the key to waste paper. While doing carpentry work, he faced the danger of being discovered by the jailer. He secretly collected wood and reused the previously stolen banknotes. Tim got the glue and utility knife. And to further improve the accuracy of the key, Stephen and Ty would create all kinds of opportunities. They could observe the key of the cell. And on this basis, Tim would give the wooden key he made every night, and inserted it into the keyhole to test, ground little by little. After repeating experiments, he opened the front door of his cell at night. Tim finally succeeded. However, within 2 minutes of happiness, new problems followed one after another. In front of him, there was a thick and heavy steel door. The best thing was that this door could be opened from the outside. It was not difficult to make a key in the same way. The difficulty was that Tim could only use the cleaning room to test the key. And in the process, the jailers might patrol at any time. Tim's hands trembled a lot as he was so nervous. A little harder. The wood key broke in the keyhole. The man quickly pulled the sawdust out, but it was too late to recover it. Fortunately, the jailer was simple-minded. He had no suspicion. How could he think about prison life? He forced himself to become a locksmith. Tim had escaped a catastrophe. Then he began to solve it. How to open this steel door from the outside? 3 cobblers surpassed a master. After a few people brainstormed, they quickly found a relatively feasible solution. They fixed the key to one end of the broom, and protruding from the cell window. Then he adjusted the angle through the mirror, and found the right opportunity to insert the keyhole. It took a lot of effort. The key successfully opened the door, but at the time of taking it back, because the structure was too loose, the wooden key fell on the aisle. The footsteps of the jailer patrolling were getting closer. Tim was sweating profusely. At this time, the gum that he bought here before became useful. After many efforts, Tim hurried before the jailer arrived. He got the wooden key back. He successfully opened 2 prison doors. The news boosted the confidence of the 3 people. There were 10 doors on the route to the exit. According to the current situation, he needed to repeat the old tricks, making more keys. Then jailbreak was only a matter of time. But when the 3 of them were working hard, Dennis reminded him again, you have to think carefully. If the jailbreak fails, it's lucky to add 25 years in prison. If you are unlucky, you will have a bullet on your head. The patrolman at the lookout station was from the battlefield. Marksmanship was very accurate. Be careful not to be killed. Dennis's words didn't shake Tim's idea of breaking out of prison, but he became more cautious. He had already made sufficient preparations for the plan. He asked the black guy to help steal the garbage. He filled in a dummy to confuse the jailer, and stole 3 sets of clothes, so that he could escape smoothly after breaking out. He even got a map around the prison, and hid it in toothpaste. to dodge the jailer. Of course, the key hadn't been made yet. The third and fourth prison doors were easy to open. The hard part was the fifth door, because the jailer was in this room. He wanted to pass through this door quietly. Not easy. And once the sound alarmed the jailer. Their action plan was exposed thoroughly. Fortunately, Jailer Menia was just like his name. He was fat and scary. Every time he heard the news, he couldn't find anything. Tim and others were hiding in the storage room at the corner of the stairs. They could escape smoothly. They kept returning to prison and trying to open the door lock. Day after day of frightening attempts, Tim finally made keys for doors 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. But this whole prison, not everyone was a fool. But the men's tricks fooled Mina. But they could not fool the captain. When he knew that Tim got up late in the morning, the captain was a sensitive person. His eyes could see Tim thoroughly. 20 years experience in this job tells me you didn't wake up because you were tired. You were tired because you weren't sleeping last night. Say, did you do something shameful? Facing such coercion, Tim could only bite the tongue and refuse to admit it. The jailer was more exacerbated. He searched full of the cell. I found a lot of odd-shaped wooden blocks. The jailer was about to ask. Tim immediately became anxious. This was for my photos. Yes, for the photos. The babble could not clear his suspicion. Tim successfully got through. But after this, Tim instantly realized the importance of avoiding this captain. He began to hide all the suspicious items in every corner of the prison. Bookshelf, the gap in the wall, laundry bucket full of soap powder. Tim hid them in places where he could hide for a week. He even made more than 30 keys to distribute to inmates just in case. After 404 days of preparation and practicing, the escape route from the cell to the administrative area was unobstructed. Only one step away to success. As for the plan after jailbreak, Tim had already planned for it. From Mozambique, he would flee to London by the north. The whole world was home, no matter where we are. The dream of racial equality would never stop. The ideal was beautiful, but the reality was very bitter. When Tim invited his inmates to flee together, most people disagreed. They could eat and drink in prison. They didn't have to worry about their homes. We can't live if we leave this place. We won't go with you. Because there is nowhere to go. Dennis said righteously. When you don't understand what apartheid is, I have been in jail with Mandela. Staying in jail is the best complaint against the apartheid system. There was no point in people taking counsel together who followed different ways. And the transit storage room could only accommodate up to 3 people. Such a decision would benefit both sides. So, the early morning of the 405th day, when the patrolling security only had Menia, the chance to escape the prison came. They opened their prison doors, changed clothes in the corner, and after opening the 4th door they hid in the storage room as planned. Unfortunately, Menia just cleared the toilet and was about to put the toilet plug back in the storage room. He came closer to the room. At this critical juncture, he just listened to the voice of Dennis in the air. Menia, Menia, come here quickly, Menia. This earth-shattering roar successfully attracted Menia to go upstairs. Dennis helped Tim to have time to escape. After a thrilling escape, Tim opened 5 doors in a row. But because there was not enough opportunity to test, they couldn't open the last door. But through the hole, Tim could already see the door opened by the enemy. The singing of victory was close to the limit. No one wanted to give up. The desire for freedom ignited anger in the men's hearts. Leonard grabbed the screwdriver angrily. After a bite, he just chipped the wooden door. They put on the clothes they had prepared in advance. Catching the blind spot of the sniper, they swaggered out of the prison. They carefully avoided the detectives on the side of the road. They followed the directions on the map, ran across the bridge, through the tunnel, and came to the city. Tim took out the banknotes and gave it to a black driver. Go to Joburg. The jailer who waited for the next day's round found something was wrong. The biggest manhunt in South Africa history started here. But at that time, the prisoners who escaped from the jail had galloped on the African savannah. They crossed the border, arrived in Mozambique, Tanzania, then in London where they rejoined the African National Congress, and continued their struggle against apartheid. This global struggle against oppression and injustice. Also in 1992, it ended with the collapse of apartheid. And in 1994, Mandela was elected president of South Africa, also became the first black president in the history of South Africa. As for Dennis, after 22 years of imprisonment, he was released in 1985. And reunited with his wife and children. The Shawshank Redemption, his position was hard to surpass in history film. And this one was based on real history. Escape from Pretoria. It was undoubtedly surprising. It was easy to find. The Shawshank Redemption focused on spiritual rendering. And Escape from Pretoria paid more attention to the escape itself. Because of the limitations of the background, the jailbreak method used in this film is the simplest and most direct way to copy keys. But fortunately, the soundtrack, the use of the scenes and a lot of exaggerating atmosphere made this movie turn the jailbreak 1,000 times. The thrilling atmosphere of life hanging by a thread to the extreme apartheid system could be broken. But rooted in some people's hearts, racial discrimination and prejudice still needed to change from generation to generation. Hi, I'm Harry. A good story every day. Remember to subscribe for more.